Fellas, ready? Let's go. Would I love to be coach of England one day? Absolutely.
Tell us about the face injury.
So I've got 3 plates under here, 1 down here, 4 plates and 16 screws in there.
Would you gone to Noosa if you had your time again?
Yeah. Confrontation. It's like, people just not have like a discussion.
Was it a good night out after loss? Does this England team have a drinking problem? Was there a curfew? Would you have sacked him?
If I hadn't have made the decision that I made 4 weeks ago, Baz would still be coach.
You've retired. How? Why? What the fuck? I'm Stuart Broad, he's Josh Buttler, and we have a guest on the show this week.
We do. Stokesy, welcome to For the Love of Cricket. Great to have you here, mate. How's the last few weeks been?
First of all, thanks for having me on, lads. It's been a while coming. I know I said back a while ago we'd do it, so why not do it now? But it's been an interesting month. Bits happened, which I'm sure a few people know about. It's been good. It's been feels like a new life change of everything really from the last 20 years of what I've been doing. But yeah, it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
We've got so much to cover, talking about all your career highlights, everything to do with your captaincy. Let's take it back 8-9 months. It'd be quite fresh in people's minds still. We'll go to Australia. We lose the Ashes 4-1. And after that, you said the 3 months after was actually the hardest point of your captaincy period. Why was that?
Yeah, it's one of those where, again, you think, right, okay, get home from Australia. We've got 6 months until the next Test match, so that's a lot of time to be able to just get away from it and decompress, maybe switch off. But unfortunately, when you're in the captaincy role of the country's team, that doesn't happen. I'm sure Joss can understand that as well with his time as captain, that you don't ever really switch off as much as you think you are, or you think you can. You don't. It's consuming, especially when things haven't gone well.
Is it consuming from everybody else or your own mind? You're like, what went wrong? How do I figure that out? Or is it the press, the fans' sort of frustration?
No, everything. I think I think first and foremost, it comes down to you. You look for things, you search for things that you think that didn't go well, could do better. What am I going to do to take the team forward again going into this summer? It just, so much goes through your head. And then I found that I was going back to all the work that I've been doing in terms of writing stuff down, and then going, no, that's not it, and almost just coming up with things that probably weren't there because I had so much time. And then I then found myself most definitely over physically training, which again, when you put that side by side with the mental stuff as well of being at home and doing all that stuff for a long period of time, by the time it got to June in the Test match and I'd already played a couple of games for Durham, I was pretty cooked. So there's all that stuff, and then there's all the extra responsibility that is put on your shoulders as captain. The media, the duties of that. 4.5 years of doing all that kind of stuff, it is tough. And big thing for me was the enjoyment side of what I was doing. I feel like you've always got to feel like what you're doing and what you're going through, even if it is tough, it feels warranted when you're out on the field. And it was just a moment when at Lords, where everything that you put yourself through, that I put myself through, not only as a player but as a captain for such a long period of time, and just didn't feel worth it for me to go through that. But also Claire, my 2 kids, my friends, family back home, because they go through everything with you as well. It's not just all on your shoulders. They see you when you're away from the camera, away from the media, whatever it may be. So yeah, to me it was just, this isn't worth it for my own sort of, I guess, personal life away from sport anymore. So I just didn't think that I had too much more to give to, you know, the team, or probably myself as well, and Claire and the kids as well. Obviously, who are the three most important people in my life.
Did you find Australia more draining than anything else?
You know what? Australia, it's as much as it is probably definitely the hardest place to go to as an England cricketer and as a captain. It was pretty funny to start with, and then the cricket starts, and then it doesn't become funny because it just all you cannot do anything. As a player, there's a home Ashes, away Ashes, and India away are like the three big ones as an England cricketer. That regardless if you're captain, they're the ones that are always, just look in the calendar and you're like, right, they're going to be the big ones. They're going to be the tough ones out of all of the series that we play. They're going to be the ones where you're tested, and it's going to be, a lot bigger than every other series you play. So I remember when we went to India for the first time again, like we were getting a bit of jip for what we did before we went there, and started off well. We won the first game, and then just like India in their home conditions, just as they do to quite a lot of teams, they just blew us away with a little bit of added probably self-infliction in there as well. So then that doesn't go well, and then you come back into your home summer, and you plan for what you've got ahead of you there. But there is always the, right, an away Ashes. It's always ticking away in the back of your mind, isn't it? And Stu, as a player, I'm sure for all the games that you play and all the series that you play, whenever that's coming closer and closer and closer, you're thinking about it. You're trying to think, okay, what, who can we get in? What squad do we want to look like we're going to be taking there? What attributes do we want to take out to Australia to give us the best chance of winning? And I don't think there's another series that does that, Australia away. And then you get out there, and as you said, you get there, it's all pretty funny start off with, and the headlines, and just looking to pick you apart. Like I remember there was one where we were at training with everyone was there, and I was sat on one of the eskies, and just managed to take a picture of me. Just happened to be watching training going on, and it was like Ben Stokes, like sat lonely all by himself, like what, I'm just sat there watching like 14 other lads train at the moment, but they try and just get you. And we handled it pretty well to start off with, I'm not going to lie. We all seen the funny side of it. We sort of went along with it. And then the cricket starts, doesn't go as we want it to. And then it's like, it just gets ramped up even more. Then, fans start getting on your back. The English media starts getting on your back. And then it just becomes even harder and harder to deal with. And when it's not going well in Australia, obviously we're feeling the pump. Everyone else is feeling the pump. Everyone else is disappointed. So it's, it's
But take
bigger.
me, so the changing room, right? Perth, day 2, lunchtime. So there's been all this build up. Everyone's really excited about what's happening. Day 1, like a dream day 1, really. Obviously get bowled out early, which is a bit scary. Zach gets out in the first over. But then we go and put in one of the strongest bowling performances of any team in any test match, really, for England. It was incredible. I remember I got lost in the Optus. It was my first day there. I couldn't get out after doing the podcast recording after, and I couldn't find my way out. And Woody was driving past me in a security van. I was like, Roddy, I was like, can I hop in? I don't have to get out of the stadium. And drove back 5 minutes to the hotel, and I like literally hugged him. I was like, that was unbelievable to get 10 wickets in an afternoon, like ferocious bowling. It looked like we almost bullied the Australian batters. And then we come the next day, where sort of theoretically 100 for 1 at lunch, and I'm in with Ponting, Hayden, Langer, Blewett, Finch, all the Aussie greats, Katic, going, this Australian team, they don't train hard enough, or Khawaja, the story of him back spasm because of golf. They were ready to explode on this Aussie team, and then we fell apart in the afternoon with the bat. What was the conversation at lunch? Was it take the game away, be ultra aggressive, let's try and build a lead as quick as possible? Was it like always, just go and play your way, guys, but if you think of a positive option, go for it?
Yeah, I think like obviously we were in such a commanding position there on that first test match, and it just, as you say, like within the click of a finger, it just completely changed. And there's a lot there's a lot to do with that, and we reflected on that game pretty well, to be honest, as a batting group and as a whole group. I think we didn't probably go, okay, what's the danger on this wicket at the moment, from seeing how the game had played out. Although it was quickly, it was bouncing, it was carrying, and they had bowlers who were able to expose those conditions, quite well. Relentless with their line and lengths, and we spoke about that after, and we just said one thing that we were big on as a group was just being able to adapt quick, when conditions are extreme, like they were at Perth. How can we adapt quicker than the opposition? And I think a lot of it maybe to do with it was, the whole anticipation of that series and how quickly everything had played out in front of us. What was it, 19, 18 wickets on the first day or something like that, and then we find ourselves ahead on first game of a series in Australia. And it's one of those where I think just everyone's emotion just got the better of themselves there. I just think we were able to, just looking back, calm it down a little bit and just go, this is where we are at the moment, lads. Like, we're in a commanding position right now. Let's just not open the door. If they bowl well, then we can hold our hands up. I think after that game, we're very good at reflecting and going, like, we didn't adapt as quick as we should have done on there. And then Travis Head did what Travis Head did, which hopefully doesn't get forgotten about, because that was just,
it was incredible,
phenomenal what he went out there and did.
Then you've got 10-day break, haven't you? So then you're stewing on that, like you say, as a captain.
Yeah.
It's like all that reflection. But to the players, when you're talking about adapting, they'd all understand. But and then you wary that, like, on the outside, sometimes that message gets misinterpreted, like, oh, they're questioning now how they should play, or was that ever a thing, or is that just like something that gets?
I think so, and that's one of the, I think, where we speak a lot about in the dressing room is the internal, like the external noise and stuff coming in. And it's very hard to avoid that now because of the way that the world is with social media, like how social media works, how media works. It's all, put it out there, because people don't read anymore, do they? They watch. So it's just so easily accessible. Everyone is on social media. And then the messages, the most important place where the messages need to be very clear for people to understand is actually in the dressing room. What people think outside of it, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, because it's probably not the right word, but it doesn't really matter. For us, it was being very, very clear and clinical about what we're saying within the dressing room. In terms of percentage of what was said in the dressing room to what got maybe put outside of that was very, very minute, because you don't really want to give away too much, do you, about what you're actually doing, what you're actually taking part in. But I would say through all the good stuff that we managed to do as a cricket team while I was captain was because of the mentality that we had as a team and what we were trying to achieve and the way in which we played. That's what gave us the success we had. And I'll also hold my hands up as well that in my time as captain, some of the games that we lost, which I don't think we should have done, were because of that same mentality towards what we wanted to do. And again, I'm not someone who has massive regrets, but I can look back on games and go, like, it's a tough one to go.
That's really hard, because that's your strength as well.
It's the strength. Like, I look back to early on, against New Zealand, first series, we shouldn't have won that series 3-0. We were behind the game so much, Trent Bridge, the chase on day 5. There's so much I can look back on and go, well, we won that game because of this. We won that game, won that series.
Think about Pakistan away. You were scoring that quick. You gave yourself time to win a test where it should have been a draw. So
it's one of those where it goes, as much of the bad stuff, the bad memories, the bad experiences have came from it. I've had so many good experiences with a group of players that was only possible because of how we took the game on.
Yeah. We're never satisfied, though, are we, as cricketers? Like, you always want more. That's what keeps you coming back. But obviously, you've got to have that indecision at times as players. And that's when I'd always look at your team and think, well, if anyone's unsure, there's no one unsure in a situation. They're going to play this way and we'll live and die by. If we win that way, great. If we lose, we'll be gutted and we want to do it better. It's sort of when that game where, you wanted to that's no country for weak men and show some fight. As again, that's one of those things in the media that go always changing.
Yeah, was that after the Gabba?
What they want to play like, but actually it's not that at all. It's just in that moment, in that time, that's the way to play in that situation. But it's
like, because I was in the media, when you say a comment like that, then suddenly people are going, oh, who does he, let's pick out who the weak men. I'm like, well, he's not target. I know in Stokesy like I do, if he meant it about somebody, he'd just said the name. Do you know what I mean? It's like, he's not mean it, he just means, as a whole, Australia is not a country to let weakness get into your mind, you have to stay strong type thing. But it's such I sort of, the time I really smiled is when you were having to apologise. I think it was at the MCG for going on a scooter and not wearing a helmet or something. And it was like, they just kept coming back like 8 questions in a row. You're like,
see, I was on so that there again, right, it's from Australia. And this is the funny side of Australia, which can be, look back on it. It's like, I'm in an Ashes series and I can't even remember where we were at there. Before Melbourne won it, I then had that. I'm about to go and play in a test match. And the first question, I'm getting asked about wearing a helmet on a scooter. And I'm being asked to apologise to a nation for not wearing a helmet. I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? But obviously,
just for kids out there, you should wear a helmet on a scooter.
100% wear a helmet if you're on a scooter, but don't ask me it in the day before a test match. I don't have to worry about that anymore, do I? So. But like that again, like that kind of stuff, that would never happen in any other country.
Before we get right into it, you can win this signed Ben Stokes bat simply by liking this video on YouTube, subscribing to our channel, and replying Stokes to the pinned comment.
Would you have gone to Noosa if you had your time again?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Because from the outside, that did look a little bit daft in the fact that it was like, I'm all for getting away, having a break, but there's just one strip in Noosa where everyone, like the whole of the Australian press, showbiz press, everything, like, right, we'll go there and see what they get up to. With 5 days off, would it not have been better to go to Sydney and go, boys, I don't want to see you, disappear and go and do your thing, but then no one knows where you are? You'd have stuck to Noosa.
Yeah, again, like, God, it's...
Because people back in England might not realise how big a story that was in Australia. It was sort of Sky Sports News, their version, every day. Here we are, they're playing football on the beach, let's have a watch of them type thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, and look, I think, again, like, some of the media that came with that was, just a bit over the top, being honest. Again, everyone wants it to be perfect, right? Everyone wants, like, should have done this, should have done that, should have done this. But it's very easy to say that kind of stuff when you're not the person making those decisions. I think it's, the hardest place to be is someone who makes a decision on what they think is best for a team. If everyone was able to, be in that role in sport, it would be quite an easy job to be able to do. But, it's the right decision if everything goes good, right? Same like you win the toss and bowl and they're 400 for none at the end of the day, you've had a stinker. Did that at Headingley against India and we ended up winning the test match. But it's just, again, you're looking back and like, if we win, it's fine. If we lose, it's not good. And I'm absolutely fine with that. I'm okay with that. I understand that.
Travis Head was necking pints everywhere he went, wasn't he? But because he was just banging it and winning.
It's part of what we do, and it's one of the great things that, you've said, I've heard people say, it's when you're 12 years old and all you think about was playing cricket for your country, you then get there to then not expect criticism, to not expect disappointment, to not expect, maybe your name get thrown under the bus or thrown through the media in a bad way. That comes with being an international sportsman. Unless, I don't know if anyone's ever been perfect and never been in the press for something bad, but that comes with it. Through all the good, there's bad that comes with it as well.
Yeah. So
you dream of these kind of things and then, you eventually get it. It's just, it comes with the territory.
Do you wish Ben Duckett knew which hotel you were staying in? Just put it in your phone, Ben, to take a picture of your room key.
Yeah, again, it's just a sad world that we live in, that an English fan just, films it and then sells it. I've been on the receiving end of that before, where someone films it and sells it. But
they could have made a bit more from yours, I reckon.
But again,
I think in terms of like a leader, though, in that sense, like there's a part of you want to hold the line. Like we said, we're going to do this trip.
Yeah,
we're going to this is the plan. It's always been the plan. And it's your first game, and you don't want to, I guess, be seen going, oh, we've lost. So Stokesy said, now we're going here, or Baz has said, now we're doing this. And it's like, part of you, no, this is the plan. And you've got to look after yourself as a player, right? And understand the optics of stuff that might happen and be a bit smart. And I think there's times where, like Ducky will regret that and say, obviously maybe I could have, not been in that situation, which then puts, the guys in charge who are organising stuff for the team or in tricky positions. But I do think there's that holding the line. This is, and everyone's trying to pressure you from the outside to do different stuff, to go.
And also, different stuff or things we tried in the past hasn't worked. Not one there since 2010. Yeah. Like was very much.
But if like I know we're talking about, and I'm sort of contradicting myself here, but when you have sat after the Ashes and you had that period of time and you reflect and you're writing things, was there any one thing that you were like, I would have done that differently if your time again? Because we would all do stuff differently if we had our time again. But was there anything that really stood out that you thought maybe it was for you personally or as a team, where you're like, that would have been good to have done it this way, or if I'd known that, I would have, not that like ever, because like you say, the toss or field position, all that, you would, and you look a genius when ball gets caught in a certain play, you just move the guy. But was there anything, or can you actually sit with peace and go, do you know what? I threw absolutely everything into that and it didn't work out how I wanted. But
it's going to probably sound so weird because it's like, I think people must be expecting some like massive answer here. But I think looking back on everything that, and this is the thing that I'm going to keep what I did about at the end of Australia, because I think it's going to be very useful for me going forward and what I do in the future. One of the things that came out of it was just communication. I think throughout the whole of Australia and even before that communication is so important in, giving yourself the best chance of being successful, because you've got so many people in a cricket team, whether it be players, support staff, coaches. So when you're away from playing the game, communication is key. What's going on? Where's this person at? If he needs to come in, if he needs to be ready, what does he need to be at? What levels does we need him to be at? But then even in the game, communicating a lot better than what we did in the middle of, in the heat of the moment, like Perth, for example, there. Like I felt we could have just been so much better at communicating as a team throughout the test match while it was going on, when emotions involved, adrenaline's involved, you maybe start thinking a little bit too far ahead because you're in a good position. Because it's very easy to not communicate. The easy thing to do is just not say anything and just hope and pray it goes well.
Yeah.
So everything that I looked at, through Australia and the whole time we were there, from off the field stuff to even on the field stuff, it just all came back to communication. Communication is just so important in sport. I think you'll see that through all the successful sporting teams, whether it be in cricket, football, rugby, whatever it may be. I think they'll all say that communication is pretty important.
Yeah.
If you look at yourself as, I don't know the exact stats, but I think you're one of the most successful England captains ever, like win percentage. What would you put down as like your absolute major strength as a leader? That sort of follow me, I'm going to be first over the trenches, let's go. I would almost say empathy for you. I couldn't believe when you got that leadership role how engaged you were individually with each player, and like on that feeling level, instead of just do this, do that, it was like, how are you today? What do you want from me? Type thing.
Yeah, and I think that's that empathy side just came from quite a few things that had happened to me throughout my career before I was captain, and having an understanding, and having played under a few captains, played under a few coaches, and took things from my own experiences, but plus just being very, very true to myself throughout the whole time. Even when I got announced as captain, I said straight away, I ain't going to Lords and standing in the long room in a suit. Like, I'm going to do it in my tracksuit at Durham. I was very clear about...
That would have pleased the hierarchy.
Yeah. I was very clear about, even to the, for the media side of it, of going, like, I understand now I've got more responsibilities as captain, but this isn't going to interfere in, you know, my preparation for a game, whether that be at the ground or away from the ground. And they're very understanding of that, as with the media as well. Like, day before the test matches, it was always on, right, okay, my terms, my time, I'll always speak to you, always give you the time, but, you know, I'm not going out of my way to suit you guys, because this is my preparation for a test match, and I know I've still got to do this, but it's going to be done how I want it to be done. And then that led into sort of the dressing room, and how I spoke to the players, how, you know, when things are going well, when things are going poorly, like, even when, you know, you get a couple of things that happen in the media, like Ben Duckett, for example, that was a horrible situation for anyone to be involved in. When, you know, think about what he was feeling there would be embarrassment, there would be a lot of things going on. You've got one or two options there. You either, you know, throw the book at him and doesn't do him any good whatsoever, or you put an arm around him and get him through to the end of the series, and then if you feel like you need to deal with something further down the line, then you do it then. And it's as simple as, right, the decision that I make here, do I feel like it's going to have a positive effect or a negative effect on the person or the team? And you'd always end up going with, well, if it's going to have a positive effect, that's probably the right one to do. And I always felt I was pretty honest with people. Never really, well, I hope I didn't speak to anyone and they sort of left going, oh, I'm not too sure about that. Me and Baz were very clear on who did what when it came to selection. I didn't do the good calls or the bad calls when it came to that, because I just wanted to concentrate on the 11 that were playing. But if you weren't in the team, you know, like, just you're expected to help everyone who's in there, and if you didn't, then you'd get told, right, sort your attitude out. So yeah, it was just always pretty straight with everyone, I think. Didn't leave any stone unturned when it come to people who wanted to ask me anything.
Stokesy, to all the fans, I have to ask this question, who might think this: does this England team have a drinking problem?
No, I mean, that, again, God, that's such an extreme thing to put on a team. The way that I think cricket has just a drinking culture, and it hasn't changed. We're in 2025 now, 2026, sorry, where the game has gone more professional over the years. And one thing that I think has just stayed within cricket is its relationship with alcohol. From club cricket to, you know, and then it works its way up. It has just stayed there, and it's been embedded within the sport. That's the relationship. The relationship with alcohol and cricket is just something that hasn't moved on as the game of cricket has become more professional. There's been more, you know, science and medicine, there's more nutritional information, there's more this, there's more that. But the one thing that has been a constant and stayed around and has been for a very long time is its relationship with alcohol. So for people who think that the English cricket team has a green culture, I'd say no. I would just say cricket has culture that is associated with alcohol.
Would you say it's a problem or not? Like, what do you mean when
I think
say
it can be.
Can be.
I think it can be a problem. I think because if you look at everything over the years, you look at a lot of people that have been involved within cricket and have had bad relationships with alcohol. It's just, I don't know what you do to change it. And it's just one of those things that, again, like, you know, I've had, I don't want to say problems, but I've had relationships with alcohol at times over my career that have been potentially dangerous, I would, if that makes sense. But it's completely different to me now. But yeah, I just think that there's this relationship with alcohol within cricket that has been the same from the 80s. As the game has got better and better and better, that thing has just stayed around. That's my opinion on cricket and alcohol.
Jose, what does a Friday night game in the 100 look like at the Kia Oval?
It's one of the great nights, Brody. I would say that Oval is up there with the best venue for the 100. As a player, great wicket, pace in the wicket, good for batters, good for bowlers if you bowl well, high scoring, always a full ground as well. I think the atmosphere there is brilliant. So yeah, one of the great nights.
I asked because the Supergiants could be heading there for the 100 eliminator.
Well, hopefully we'll be straight into the final. But if we are there for the eliminator, it is a great night. Obviously, high pressure in an eliminator game. Whoever wins straight through to the final. Some good memories for me in 2023. Actually, I reckon one of my best innings in the 100 came at the Oval in the eliminator. I scored, what did I get? 82 against the Southern Brave back in 2023. So good memories. Great ground.
It is. Have you ever watched cricket from the pavilion end? There's a new stand to the left where you can overlook London, sun setting. It's just the most outrageous place to watch cricket.
I haven't, but you've sold it to me that I would like to be up there at some point. Obviously not watching anybody else play, but hopefully after I've finished, that would be one of the places in the world that I would love to watch cricket. I know from experience, the other side of the ground, the top of that OCS stand, people say hospitality is amazing, but the new bit, the pavilion end, watching the sunset over London, watching a great game in the 100 would be something I want to do when I'm finished.
And the MSG women shaping up okay?
Shaping up really well. They're in the playoffs at the moment. They've won 3 of their first 5 games with a washout as well. So playing some really good cricket. Meg Lanning is leading the troops really well. So yeah, hopefully, as I said, they won't be in the eliminator straight to the final. But yeah, they're looking good.
Well, I'm neutral, but I hope to see you. Both teams there, MSG, you've been entertaining us all. Regardless, the 100 Eliminator is on the 14th of August, Friday night, at the Kia Oval. Tickets are selling fast, with juniors going for just a £5. Visit the100.com today to secure your seats now for the 100 Eliminator. Some people might think, like with the whole Baz coaching style, your captain style, it was sort of what will be, quite blasé. It wasn't the case. It was quite detailed, wasn't it? Like you and Baz worked closely in getting the mentality right and being very detailed on the information you gave the team. People often talk to me, how did the change in mindset come? It was never on a whiteboard and like, this is how we're going to play. This is, was it? It was obviously thought about with how you and Baz spoke to the group and how you timed each thing that each of you said. But it wasn't just like, what will be, was it?
No, not at all. And you can't, international sport, you can't just expect to rock up and go and play against good oppositions and just go, oh, what will be. There needs to be planning put into the stuff that you do. And again, this is all the kind of stuff that gets put in the background. It's away from the cameras, it's away from the people or whoever it may be. But we never really made a big sing and dance about that kind of stuff because, again, the most important place where all that stuff was going on and who needed to hear it and see it were the people in the dressing room who were walking out into the field to, who wore the shirt. And again, part of, I guess, captaincy is knowing that although it's, a team sport, a dressing room was filled up with 15 individuals. And I think we did a sort of pretty decent job at understanding that and going, right, just because we think this might be the best way for preparation or even, discussing games at the end doesn't mean it's the best way for everyone else. So, like, I'm not a massive preparer in terms of meetings or anything like that. I just like having little bits of information and then having the yourself, you were a big preparer, right? You knew everything about every batter that you were bowling at. That's what you did. I didn't do that because I just wanted to get into the battle with someone and stick to my strengths and knew what I was wanting to do. And I knew that I could run up and bowl an outswinger, bowl an in-swinger and bowl a bouncer. If I got too caught up with information and statistics and stats and this and that, the other, then all of the stuff would be running through my head and then I'd forget probably what to do there. So we just let everyone do what they sort of wanted to do to prepare and let the bowlers talk. You and Jimmy were great at doing that with the guys. You were the leaders out on the field. So that's why we didn't necessarily feel we needed to waste time with the big team meetings because, people would switch off, myself included.
I remember there was that Antigua ground. Is it underground? Like the change rooms are underground. I remember we did like a long bowlers meeting there, and I think I felt like I looked over at you and you were asleep. I thought this isn't for Stokes here because all those teams, all they are really is top of off. Go top of off. Adjust to the lengths on this pitch. Worth using the occasional bouncer. Early use a Yorker because it might not sit. It's always the same.
It's just always the same.
But there might be like little differences in certain players. But I think that's so organic just to share with a bowler quietly at training. Just go, Steve Smith will step long way across to take out the LBW or whatever. But
yeah,
that was refreshing when you did that.
When you like doing all this, and was there ever a time where you maybe sat on the balcony or you're fielding and you're just like, my vision for this team is like, this is exactly where I wanted it. And when I took over, I'm like seeing all the work you've done, you and Baz. And was there ever a time where you're like, this is it, we've got it just how we want it, and like, or a game, or is it always evolving?
No, I always wanted the team to be desperate to evolve and not be happy with where we were at any given point.
But did you know the freewheel? Say we obviously played before when there was such a marked change. Had you always seen that as like, if you got the captaincy, that's how I would do it, or like when did that vision like come? This is how to play, because you've had lots of different styles of play. I think even your innings at Headingley, what were you, 4 off 60 odd balls or something overnight? And then obviously you smash it. So you've been able to be really malleable and play in loads of different ways. But like your vision for the team, how was that born? That was like, this is the way at this time.
I think I don't. I'd be very interested to see what I would have wanted to do if I got given captaincy if COVID hadn't have happened.
Yeah.
That to me, they're like playing through COVID, playing with Joe, going through Joe's journey as captain for as long as I did, seeing what he had to do, especially through COVID, what got put on his shoulders, seeing what it took out of him, the toll it took out of him. Then going through playing myself as well, and then just seeing like the, I don't want to say the joy. I'll say the joy of cricket coming out of Joe's eyes by the end of it, generally, because I'm such good mates of Joe, and it was a hard time for me to see him go through everything that he went through there, and then when he decides to step down and I've taken on, I've got to go, okay, well, how can I flip this round? Because it did have obviously COVID was a horrible time for country, the world, everybody, and but I could only go on the effect of the people that I had around me, and most of the time it was the lads that I was playing cricket with. So honestly, a big part of it when I took over was the joy of playing for England is the thing that needs to come back here. That fear of failure, the whatever it is. I just want to, how can we get the smiles of everyone who is walking out there playing for England? How can we get that to come back? And how do we do that? It is by the style of cricket that we go out there and do. And that was literally all I wanted to do to start off with as captain. I had no idea how it was going to go. Could have blown up in my face. Could have been absolutely disaster. But the only thing that I was bothered about to start off with was seeing everyone who was playing for England like smile and enjoy it again, because COVID was tough for a lot of people involved.
Yeah, one of the big things you did was you, in the change room at Lords, when you named your 12 or 13 first test, sort of said, look, guys, you're my guys for the summer. Just play, just relax. Because we'd been through COVID where I think we had like 55 changes in 12 tests or something insane. And not all through the fault of coach and captain and selectors. It was, some guys had to get rested from bubbles to then go into a different bubble and all that sort of thing. But we were just changing the team the whole time. That meant players had no security and ended up going insular and maybe playing for themselves a bit. Whereas you just came and said, guys, you're playing the summer, just play. If you go no, whatever, just relax and play. And that was a really strong message for a group who had been so insecure in what their roles were. So you had real clarity on that. So on Joe taking over the captaincy, you say he lost the joy of the game, maybe started to, his eyes sort of disappeared towards the end. Do you think his mindset will be completely different taking over for this next sort of year or so?
I hope so.
And have you talked to him about it? Because I'm sure he would have called you and said, do you mind if I take this or whatever?
I have spoke to him. Funny story, actually. Obviously, it started, I seen it start circulating around the media. So I text him saying, no, I'm seeing a few things in the media. He's like, oh, it must be true then. My thing, like, I spoke with Joe when it obviously came out. And it was weird because he said to me, he says, "Oh, you're speaking to me. You seem in a bit better of a state than the last time we spoke." I was like, "Well, when did we last speak?" Like, I'd been down and watched my good mate Scotty Borthwick play club cricket at Hartlepool, and ended up getting in a round of pints with his uncle, actually, which was never a good thing to do. He's a very experienced man at that. And Root was like, "Yeah, you rang me when you sat on your step at home about it all." I was like, "Oh, God." You didn't record that then. But I love Rooty. I wish him nothing but success. I hope he goes on and achieves amazing things in his role as captain. And I think he's gonna really enjoy it with Flem. He's a great man. I've worked with Flem before, but I told Joe, I said my only worry is just as you, and that's all I really care about now with Rooty is just because I seen what he went through and how much he put himself through. He's just always put the team first. Like, he always comes second, and that's just my only concern with it, is just obviously knowing what he went through last time he was in charge of the team, because I don't want to see that ever happen again, because I care for Joe a lot, but I wish him all the success in the world, and I'm sure he's going to do great. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the team does going forward.
What could he do differently to not let himself get affected by the results so much, not get affected by the team maybe not performing? Because he's not got as good a team as he did when he was last captain. It's very much a reset of a team, isn't it?
Mm.
Saw him at the Oval, you were watching from afar. It was like any captain had their hands full with that team.
Yeah, you're right. And I think Flem's going to be, again, going to have to take a lot of that on his shoulders initially, because you think about what Rooty's done as a player when I was captain, the runs he scored, the stuff that he achieved on the field, how influential he was within the group to the younger guys coming through. Like, he's just someone who just is amazing to have in your dressing room, whether it's someone who's come into for the first time or someone who's been there for ages. Like, you're always going to go to Joe Root, right, and just talk about I don't talk to him about batting because I just can't comprehend what his mind goes through. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Like, it's just
riddles.
like, and they're just those greats. They just think differently, and it's like they can see things happening before it happens, and I just can't. I just never really could understand his brain of batting because he's that good. But he's just, he's been amazing for me. How he was so important in my first couple of months, my first summer, with how he just flew into it, with considering he'd done it for 6 years and how we'd gone in a completely different direction with the team, the style of play, and he bought into it. So it says a lot about him. But yeah, just I think what he did really well at the start was he was Joe Root the captain, but then when he was batting, he was Joe Root the batter. And hopefully he just keeps doing that, because Joe Root the batter is unbelievable, isn't he? And then when it comes to captaining, just doing it his way. Like, don't,
What is his way?
Well, I don't know. Whatever Joe Root's way is, it needs to be Joe Root's way. He did it for 60 something games. He won the most amount of games, and he is an England captain. So he's pretty good.
Harry Brook, one of the best young players I've seen, not that young anymore. Actually, he's like an experienced player now, I suppose. But how do we look after him in English cricket? Because he's incredible at all three formats. Is there something we can do to give him proper longevity, to make sure he's as good as he can be for a long period of time? And do you think, you came out and said good captaincy option, he's obviously doing great with the white ball stuff. Do you think looking after him is not giving him the test captaincy right now? He's an unbelievable player, first of all, isn't he?
Oh my God. I mean, so Rooty's currently chasing down Sachin, and like, I've played with Rooty since we were kids, and I said this to Harry in Sydney. I said, I've never seen someone come into a dressing room in England and since Rooty and look or be as good. And whatever Joe ends up getting, the only person who I can see chasing that down is Harry Brook in terms of his runs in Test cricket. He is that good. And you look at how he does it as well, and like how quickly he does it, and he's 25, is he?
Maybe a bit, 27 maybe now.
But you look at what he's already managed to do, the amount of runs he's already scored. Like if he keeps going at that rate, can I see him chasing down? Like, yeah, unless the whole landscape of cricket starts changing and all of a sudden England stop playing less Test cricket. But he is. You know, you talk about once in a generation. Like he's just phenomenal, like, freakishly talented, isn't he? Like he can do things on the pitch that some people just.
How did you like captain that? Because you know when people say, "Oh, Harry Brook needs to do this," or he needs to, and then you like you say, you bring up his record and say, "Well, he averages like mid-50s." Like what more are you expecting? But like, how did you, like when you're captaining Brookie, like what's the way to sort of, you know, get the best out of him?
So you cannot. So Brookie is someone who he doesn't play up to it, but he's got a cricket brain on him, right? And I think that's what people don't really understand because of, you know, how he comes across in the media sometimes, and how he speaks and stuff like that. But he knows what he's doing. Like he trains incredibly hard at all aspects of his game, and sometimes I get this feeling that like the younger generation now, because they can do everything, like play every shot in the book against every bowler in the world, hit the ball literally 360 whenever they want, because it becomes so easy for them to be able to do, it's like, I'll just do that now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I watch my family friend's young lad who can do the exact same thing. He can play every shot in the book and he's 14, and then he'll just randomly do it. And you're like, we done that before? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, well, because I can do it. It's like, yeah. And the one thing, I've said this to Brookie, I said it to him at Sydney. I was like, I said, the one thing that's going to, you're averaging 55, like it feels daft having this conversation, but that's how good you are. Like you should average 65, 70 in Test cricket. So like, it's just understanding why teams are doing what they're doing to you at that moment. And identifying those moments that if they're bowling to you and you're 40 not out and they've been trying to, like, you know, bowl pretty normally, and then they start going to something completely different. They're doing that because they've got no idea how to get you out. Absolutely no idea. So they're going to change to, say, the bouncers, for example. Just, you know, because if you do that for a bit, what they're going to do, they're going to go back to doing that, and just like identifying those moments in the games, because that's what's going to take you from where you are now currently, which is unbelievable, to being like even better than unbelievable. Because he just can do things that no one else can do. Some of those, like, some of those knocks that you've seen him play on like green snake pits, if we get put on wickets like that, first thing you do is, Brookie, you go out there and score a 50 ball 100, because he's the only person in our dressing room who can do that, like, with such ease. But then also he can then go out and get you a, you know, you see him get 300 and whatever it was in Pakistan. The ability he has to be able to play different innings is the one thing I think for him to take him from where he is to the next level. Which sounds stupid saying that, to the next level, when he averages 55 and he's got the record that he does already. But that's how good Harry Brook is. And
remember Wellington when we were like 33, nipping everywhere.
But
he just like dancing down and smacking.
And again, that's the thing with the media. It's like, it's brilliant then, isn't it? Like, it's incredible then, and like bowing down to him. But then it's, for him, it is going, okay, why are the team doing what they're doing to me right now? It's because they've got no idea how to get you out. So just don't give them an inch. And that's personally what I think. And I had that conversation with Sydney, so it's not going to be news to him seeing me.
Why do we lack young English captaincy options? Because we drag a lot of our young players out of domestic cricket so they don't learn captaincy. It's bad that we're in a place we've had, let's be honest, bad we're in a place we've had to go back to Joe Root. It is bad. And I get the fact that Popey was being lined up, his missed selection. Zach would have been a good captain. His sort of time has come. He's now captain one of the 100 teams. So you've had leadership dragged out of that setup. But the fact is, it's bad that Joe Root's been asked to do it again.
I don't know. Like, I think it's just, if you think someone's going to be a good captain or a good leader, then just give them it. Even if like some Brookie made vice captain. I'm not there anymore. But even when I missed that Test match, I was like, why is Brookie like, he's vice captain? And I understood the reasoning why they were saying it, but I was still like, well, what message is that sending to him? He's vice captain, and then the captain was not playing, but he's not captain. What? And then the same again here.
Almost because they were scared of him doing media or something. I don't know. It just felt like that.
I just like, what message is that sent? Brookie will now, but he'll just go out there and bat. Like he'll just be, it's fine, whatever, because he just loves batting, he loves scoring runs, and he loves playing for England, loves playing cricket. But just again, I don't know. I had no leadership or captaincy experience when I took over. I just thought I was going to be a good captain, and then I don't know.
I think that's a bit of a myth, isn't it? About you should have where are these guys getting captaincy experience? If you're a really good player, so you get picked to play for England. Obviously, someone's already captain, and if you're continuing to play for England, you're not going back to your county and captaining 10 Champo games. Or I don't see. I think you're right. It's more of a personality, and you have to go. Yes, we believe in this guy's traits and his personality, and he doesn't have experience, but he's going to be a really good leader. I just think I don't think there's another way, actually.
No.
So, like Beth, for example, right? He stands out as someone straight away when he walks into the dressing room at such a young age. His personality, the way that he conducts himself, he is just a natural leader. You'll know it from all the white ball stuff.
He will become a captain.
He will become a captain.
He'll be.
Yeah. And there's a young lad at the moment.
A lot of good things about him.
He's just brilliant. Like he is 22, but he's like, if I was that mature as a 22-year-old, there probably would have been something wrong actually. But you can just see things in people. There's a lad at Durham right now. He's on the academy. Called Luke Symington. He's 18 years old, and I've said he will be future Durham captain. There's just something about people that you just see. They've just got, you don't know what it is, do you? But it's just like, there's just something there.
And in different ways. Some people are like that at 18, and then there might be someone else that suddenly, I think they grow into he's going to become a leader a bit later on. But I don't think you can have, maybe it's just, have you got is there enough of the characters around to choose from? But I don't think it's something you can, especially with all the cricket that gets played these days, to go, right, we need to invest in so-and-so as a captain. So he's played all these tests. Now we'll put him in the Lions to give him 2 games of captain. He said, well, no, I'm going to play in. I don't know. It's not a very simple answer, but personalities, surely.
Jose, you're always busy, but the 100 comes thick and fast.
It does, mate. It is relentless at times. So playing, training, a lot of travel. The games are all quite quick, and just trying to stay on top of it all. But imagine you're finding the same commentating.
Yeah, doing a lot of driving up and down the motorways, try and get back after each game so I can take the kids to school in the morning. It's busy but enjoyable. But I get less movement in this month just because I'm sat in a car.
Yeah. So how are you tracking the health and staying on top of all of that?
It's tough, mate. There's just so much information out there. So finding things that are actually relevant to me, that's why I like Thriver, because it's actually completely detailed to me.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. It feels the opposite of the overwhelming information overload that is out there. So obviously we've done our blood tests, sent them off, comes back tailor-made to me. These are 1 or 2 really key points that you need to focus on for your health. And it just seems a lot simpler. So
what's Thriver been telling you then?
Well, actually, the most recent results I did, my iron came back a bit high. Cholesterol we've talked about before, trying to get that under control. But with the doctor's notes, it actually does have information saying if you are a professional athlete and trying to hit your protein markers by eating a lot of red meat, your iron may be a bit high. So not worrying about that too much, but it's made me conscious of in and around cricket. I'm trying to eat more red meat and protein, that's fine. But then maybe when I'm not playing, maybe try and replace that with some fish or something, just to not let it get away from me.
Yeah, I've been doing 7-8 months now, and what I like is it's building a picture for me. So I know when I've had really, really busy months or quieter months, trying to see what bits of my health change, and I feel like that's getting better and better the longer I do it. So I like the fact every couple of months I send off a sample, so to speak, of the blood and build a document of information on myself, really.
Yeah, and that's the benefit, really, the bigger picture. You've been doing it for a few months now, so you've got that payoff with the confidence that you're seeing your markers improve. You've got a big picture of, it's not just a one-off test and it's a bit of a stab in the dark. So to be able to track it over time just really gives you that confidence.
I know you love a discount and giving things away. Have we got a discount for our listeners and viewers?
We do. Code Love of Cricket, 20% off your first test, and the link is in our episode description. Tell us about the face injury that happened.
Oh, God, yeah.
Was that, how did that affect you at all in different ways, or was that what happened there?
So I'm doing my level 3 coaching at the moment. I've been doing it for about 18 months, and it's in the winter. I was going in and I was like, right, I'll do my own training, but I'll go and help the academy out with Will Goodman and some of the other coaches, and just get some practical time in, getting good on the sidearm, working with some of our young players, and just getting comfortable with sort of not just being someone who's part of a team and throwing balls, like how we do that a lot to each other, of actually going into an environment and being like, okay, I'm here now as someone who is going to be talking to these guys about something, like just get used to doing that. And it was one of those stages where I was side arming and the spinner was bowling. So it was like side arm spin. It's like an open net, and I was side arming, and then I was get my ball, and then I would like talk to the coaches sort of who were just sat there watching. This was completely my own fault. Rule 101, right? Don't turn your back on the net. And then I've side armed it. One of the young lads called Robbie, he's a good player, hits it hard. Ran down the wicket to a spin and turned into a full toss. And like, when the ball comes back in a net and everyone just goes "Ooh," like that. I've heard
you
that.
Can't get words out, can you?
No. And then I've just like turned around like that.
Oh god!
And it's just walloped. It's straight there. Like,
do you see it? You see it coming at all?
So I can still see it now. So when I think about it, I can just see this like oh.
Yeah.
And I didn't really remember what had gone on until the next day, because I got home from hospital and Libby was like, my face was like pretty bad. She's like, "Do you remember what happened, Dad?" And I was like, "I can now, yeah." And I just remember this, like, just see the last thing, just seeing this ball here, and I'm my brain, like, I just, oh fuck,
and feel slow motion from there to there.
And then everyone just sort of like, it was just silence, and I was like walking around like, oh. And then I remember moving my jaw, just like go right, okay, it's not broken then, thank God. And then rubbing my tongue around my teeth, like, oh, no teeth have gone, good. And then just walked off to the back of the net, and everyone's just like still, and then squatted down and was like, whew. And then the blood just started like coming out, and then I stood up, and then I've got my back to everyone by then, and then I do turn around, and then everyone's like staring at me. I'm like, oh, I'm all right, we can just keep going, it's fine. And then I'm like start feeling, oh my God, I'm gone here. Got put down on a chair, and then don't really remember much of the next half an hour. Like I was gonski. But how lucky is this? Our like medical team at Durham that night were doing a course on facial injuries at the hotel. At the ground. So our doctor was there, our other physio was there, and another physio was there as well. So our doc, who actually is like a consultant for the ECB as well, was walking to his car on the way home, gets a phone call, and then manages to come back and then see me. So I had like 3 medical staff on site, who shouldn't have been there anyway.
Yeah.
And then he calls up the hospital at Durham. I then get put into a private room because I need to wait for the scan, because obviously they're worried about everything, like brain, eye, all that kind of stuff. But funny thing was, I got put into a room, and that's not funny because it's sad, but so the hospital know if someone has passed away, they put a flower on the door, and the nurse who was looking after me was like, "I've just put a flower on the door so no one comes in and interrupts me." I was like, God, it's a bit deep. I'm not dead. But yeah, like it was just, Claire wasn't there, Scotty was there, thankfully. So he rang Claire and was like, "When you come to hospital, Ben's been hit in the face," and like really like sort of underplayed it a bit. And then Scott went out to get Claire. Claire said to Scott, was like, "Oh God, what's he like?" And Scott was like, "No, it's really, really, really bad." And she was like, "Oh." So she then came in and said, like, she came in the door and I was this way, so they hit me on this side of the face. And then I seen her come in, I turned around, she went, like, really? Yeah,
How bad?
It was a mess. And then I had to wait a week to have the surgery because of the swelling. It was that bad. They had to wait for it all to go down.
And what was the surgery? Plating it?
So I've got 3 plates under here, and then one down here. I've got 4 plates and 16 screws in there. But it was
a good job of it.
Yeah, I've done a good job.
It's all internal.
Yeah.
He went in through the side of my eye here, and then did it all like cameras or something like that. But it was, as horrific as it was actually like the best result possible, because it got hit here. If it's like say an inch further there, And then the scariest thing about it is, I think, as well, where I got hit, right, I had my back turned. So I was completely facing the way. And then I'm, the line, and obviously, unfortunately, with horrible news that happened to Phil Hughes, I'm like...
Could have been exposed.
Well, God. And I've walked away with, a couple of plates and some screws in my eye. And every now and again, like, it will get a bit sore at the back end of the day and sweat drips into it because there's like a little ridge here which hasn't healed properly. But...
and mentally, like you begin to realise how much a cricket ball damaged cricket ball. They're mentally fine.
Yeah, I always knew how bad. I mean, look at my fingers, like I always knew how hard a cricket ball was. But since going back into nets now, my net awareness since being hit is just off the scale. Like every time like I hear, like a ball being nailed, like I just turn my head like that. It's mad. I wouldn't say it's had. I don't think it's had like any like real negative scarring effects on me whatsoever. If anything, it's just made me more aware of being in a net and not being a bit lazy with turning my back. And but I remember I got hit in the net for the first time in the head batting, and I was like, I really needed that to happen.
So since the
and before I came back to playing, top edge one and just doinged me straight in the head, and I was like, I'm all right. It's like when you break a finger, like when you're coming back, you need to take a real big hit. You need that to happen to be okay. I'm fine. But no, I've got away really lucky.
But did that happen sort of before the big review and that you, Baz, and Keezy are all going to take it forward? Was that before or after? Like,
yeah. So this was when did I do that?
Early Feb, I think it was.
Yeah, so I went on a Lions tour to do my coaching stuff, and it was about 4 weeks before that. I can't even remember when it was. It was early on in the year.
That then sort of set back your
plan, my plan for playing,
this summer,
because I needed to get cleared by the specialist of being right. Okay, you're all good, because he was worried that he might have to do another operation on me, like get plastic surgery in, because my eyelid wasn't. It was like that for ages. I had like a lip. So, but then I went back to see him and he was like, "Oh no, you're all right. So you can get back to playing now."
But did that make you feel just everything was, obviously after the Ashes, everything was going through your brain of what you want to do? Was there ever a point you thought, I don't want to carry on playing cricket for England? And then you have this, you obviously have time in hospital, surgery, recovery, different sort of pills you're on to kill pain. Does that make you feel just emotionally much lower, or were you actually okay and like, I feel really positive about carrying on? Because you had that review. I never know, these reviews are always talked about. I never actually know what goes into them or who does them, but after every Ashes there's an ECB review. Are you heavily involved in that, or do you just get told, we want you, or asked, we want you to carry on?
So the whole eye incident, like that was just, I would say, well, no, I can say that it had nothing to do with whatsoever with everything that's happened over the last while. But the review, like, I don't know if captain's ever done what I did there, but I'm like, well, right, everyone's up here's doing one, but surely, like, I never got asked to do one. I was like, well, I'm just going to do one, because not only, it wasn't just about Australia, it was about quite a long time before that. And I got some help with it. I seek my own help in terms of structuring things and how to do it properly, because I'm not necessarily good at that kind of stuff. Which is why I'm sort of working on all that kind of stuff now with, like leadership and all that kind of things of helping me with the stuff that I'm not so good at. But yeah, I just took it upon myself to go, well, I'm captain, this is my team, as much as it is everyone else's, like, I'm going to put my input into it as well and think about, this is the things that, haven't necessarily gone the way that we wanted them to. These are the things I think we need to look at improving, and then surely, like, all together with our review, then we can get somewhere where, we're all happy with.
So you do a personal review, ECB do their own review, and you sort of meet together and discuss it all?
I sent it in and was like, there you go. Wasn't like, it didn't take me like a day. It took me quite a long time because I wanted to make sure it was properly right. And as I say, I'm not someone who would do something like that and do it half-assed. Put a lot of time and effort into it. Worked really hard.
With criticisms in there at all of people, or just processes or
yeah, you definitely, and criticisms of myself, criticisms of things, you know, that I think we needed to improve on. And some of those things were, you know, me as well, because you know, you can't not take any blame when you are in a leadership role on things that haven't gone well, right? But yeah, no, I never got asked to do one. I was just like, well, I'm gonna do this because I really want to take us forward even further. And you know, this is probably the toughest time that I've gone through as captain. So I'm just going to sit here and not do anything about it.
I found the fact that you did your own review quite interesting, actually. Just I sort of want to know how you mentioned how it came about. How did that even work? Did you just fire off like WhatsApps or emails to when you'd finished it? Did you call players and try and get their feedback? Because normally, like after Ashes tour, you'd have had a call from whoever directed cricketers. What do you think? How's it gone? Did you get any sort of outside noise or influence on that?
So leadership to me has always been something that I've always taken a huge amount of interest in, and probably become more interested in how do I become better at it. Not even just from a captaincy point of view, just in general. And I spent a lot of time, you know, like listening to other, you know, impressive leaders in sport, and tried to listen to it from people outside of sport as well, but I couldn't quite get that connection with, you know, in business, if you know what I mean. It was all sport. It was the kind of stuff that I really ended up finding, getting interested in listening to how they went about it, from, you know, being all the way down here to then making their way through and then eventually being up there. So, and again, like reflection, communication, as I said to you before, was a real big part of their journey from being down here to then going all the way through there. But it always seemed to be, it was reflection, communication was something that was always a very, you know, constant with them. Even when they got to the top, they continue with that. So I was like, well, says like, I don't know if, you know, obviously everyone's going to be talking about, you know, what went well, what went wrong, what we're going to look to change. And a lot of that is from, you know, potentially from people outside of the environment, from, you know, inside the dressing room, training, playing, you know, being exposed to it all. And so, see, in a team, the captain, the coach, are probably the most important two people, I think, outside of the playing, to really, I guess, give their opinion on that. So I just found it interesting and weird that, but I don't, maybe that's never happened before. Maybe a captain's never really been given, or can you give us your official whatever you want to do? So I was like, oh, stuff, I'm going to do it anyway.
Probably because they're normally getting sacked after it.
When you say like an official thing, so you're like not just writing down some notes, you're like produce like a document or
so
something.
yeah, like I was writing stuff down. I was going through this, writing this down. Like, God, I was, you know, using Claire and even, you know, my mother-in-law when she was up, just like making sure that I got things right in terms of like structure and like my spelling. And honestly, it was, and all this kind of, because I wanted to make sure that it was right, because I didn't want to do it half-assed, because it was such a big thing for me to do back then. And then I got help from some other people who was, you know, like he almost specializes in leadership and, you know, takes people on a journey of leadership. And I still talk to that person now, about, you know, how do I become better at just, you know, being a leader and the tricks and traits of all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I put a lot of time and effort into this, you know, review, we'll call it. It was probably a bit bigger than that for me, because I'd never studied that hard since school. Probably didn't study that hard at school anyway, to be honest. But yeah, and then when I was eventually happy with it, I sent it to, you know, everyone who needed to see it at the ECB, and then that was it. So I was just like, well, I've let everyone know who needs to know, like, what I think. This is I put that along with your views and your thoughts, and then let's go. And then, you know, within, I can't remember how long after, but then, you know, we had a real good meeting, and, you know, it was me, Baz and Keezy were continuing the jobs that we were doing. And I think everyone valued everyone's input into their own, you know, sort of reviews and what they thought. Because I think you need that, right? You need different opinions and different views to be able to then move forward again.
What did it tell you about yourself? I'm thinking actually of listening to this as a young captain. There's like 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds out there who are captaining teams. What did you learn from doing that review about yourself and go, well, I want to focus on that to make myself a better leader?
So one of the big things that I learned, and actually that was, explained to me throughout this process by someone who helped me, was I most definitely put way too much on my own shoulders and put too much and took on too much responsibility away from probably other people who could have, who probably should have done it, if that makes sense. But the only reason why they should have done it is because I should have asked them to do it. Whereas I thought
What's an example of that? Like,
so I was so when I say I did this internal review, right, that's all me. So I was doing all of that myself and then going, okay, I need to fix this. I need to fix this. I need to fix that. I need to fix this, like, whilst we're on the go. Whereas, what I was spoken to and taught, while I was doing all this was, a big part of leadership is actually taking on board that you have people around you to help, to take 15% of the stresses and the responsibility off your shoulders, so then you can concentrate on the 30% that is probably the most important part of this job. And then if you can find a way and find a group of people to take, share the other 70% of that around you, then you're going to be able to work together much better as a leader yourself, if that makes sense. I was like, I just always thought I've got to do it all. And it was, that to me was just like an amazing bit of advice in terms of going, being a leader is, you are the one who makes the decisions. You are the one who takes responsibility for success and also failure. But you also need to be like very open to, and almost like put your ego and any arrogance that you have about being a leader to the side and go, I need people to help me. So anything that I do in terms of leadership going forward now, I've got a real clear understanding of actually that is a real positive thing to be able to help.
Some reflections in that review on the pitches that no one would have seen coming in Australia, particularly when you start playing for would you have taken Jimmy Anderson, or would you have moved him on as early as you did? And how involved were you in that convo?
So with Jimmy, it was, look, Jimmy is undoubtedly, along with yourself, the greatest fast bowler that we have produced and probably will for a long period of time, in terms of, like the longevity that yourself and he did to the game was just incredible. We asked Jimmy to come to a hotel. I should have been in America, actually. This is when I couldn't get my visa. So I was like, well, I'm in Manchester, so I'll come and do it as well. And it was a tough one with Jimmy because he's still a gun bowler. And we were looking to build a bowling attack for Australia. And we just didn't feel that Jimmy was going to be a part of that. And rather than, holding on to Jimmy and, knowing that we were probably definitely going to go Australia without Jimmy, we wanted him to be able, to again go out on terms that he felt like was on his. Now, I'm sure there's going to be resentment. I'm sure there's going to be disappointment there from Jimmy, because it was probably not a nice thing to be able to hear for someone who's done so much for the game. But again, the game moved on from people. The game's moved on from yourself. The game's moved on from me. It always will. But that shouldn't take away what he's done for English cricket. Look at him. Is he captain in Lancs, still playing for Lancs again? He loves playing cricket, and should never forget what he did for England in that shirt.
Was there a time in Australia that you thought Jimmy would have been handy?
No. So what I went back to before about that leadership kind of stuff was that decision was based on what we thought was going to be a positive outcome for us. Didn't turn out that way. Can't go back and like undo all that kind of stuff, because you never know how it would have played out. But you got to make decisions like that are tough. Yeah, and that was a tough decision.
And this wasn't made overnight, was it?
Wasn't made overnight, no. But again, when you're in those roles of leadership, you've got to be able to make those decisions and stand by them and live by them. And if people don't think they're right, that's absolutely fine, because everyone is able to have an opinion on that kind of stuff. But look, I'm still see Jimmy as someone who I got very close with, played a lot of cricket with Jimmy. And he's still doing what he does. But no, I don't regret the decision that we made, because we did it for what we thought was going to be a positive outcome for us in the build up to going out to Australia.
Your husband's comment upset a few former players, older former players. I think Beefy might have been one of them. What did you mean by that? Because theoretically, you're a has-been now, former player. You didn't mean it in the context of actually targeting individuals, did you? It just came out wrong.
No. So I remember doing that interview and I said it, and I literally went,
no.
And then I cleared it up a week later, because I didn't mean to say husbands. I meant it's people who like former players. Husbands just came out of my mouth. But.
Yeah.
How about your own fitness in Australia? I think you turned. I think Carsey did an interview about like how well you were trained, how long you were training, and playing with you. You're so competitive, and when you train properly. Like, did you feel going into the Ashes like in incredible shape? Like, have you ever felt like I worked too hard physically?
No, I think I got a little bit obsessed with certain types of with training away from my skills training, and something that actually I had good conversations with Simsy about, Pete Sim, our S&C, and so I did a lot of running, and I used to sort of, I think, looking back on that.
During the tour?
During the tour. The amount of times where sort of I would say to him, like, I'm going on a run, and he'd be like, I'd be like, no, that's fine. I need to do it, because I almost got to a place where it's like, well, if I didn't do it, I'm not preparing properly. Whereas if I think looking back, I was doing it more from my, the mental side of it.
Yeah.
Because going out and running is just clears everything, right? Just clears your head, and you get that hour away from all the nonsense. You got your AirPods in, just listen to music, and you're running around Australia, and it's quite nice. Then got injured in the last game of the tour with my abductor tear, and there's a couple of series, I think that one, and then the amount of times I was getting injured in the last game of the series, sort of discussions around, was all of my physical stuff that I was doing I didn't need to do contributing towards fatigue of my body at the back end of a series, because I'd not managed to finish a series off in quite a long time, and I was fit, like proper fit. But was I overdoing it because like I was just, I don't know, doing way too much? And I'd probably say I was, because if I just said I just need to go clear my head, probably could have done something different that wasn't as physically demanding on my body, that was probably adding more I don't know, tiredness or whatever it was to my body. But yeah, that's what this can do it to your professional sport, can it? It just makes you just, I don't know, just do things that you don't really see at the time, but then when you look back on it and reflect on it, a few months later, you're like, God, yeah, that's why I was doing that. But you just never know when you're in it.
No, you don't.
Never know when you're in it.
I suppose that leads us a little bit into, you do a review, obviously go through everything, and now we're sat here, where are we? We're all start of August, and you're now not playing for England. You've retired. How? Why? What the fuck? Is what I mean. Probably can't say that, but the hell of a 4 months, really. We've talked about Ashes and how you've done a review to build up to go again. My, great friend of yours, obviously teammate of yours for a long period of time. I had no doubts that you were the captain to lead us to 2027 Ashes. I left Australia thinking Australia have won this Ashes, outplayed us, but there's holes in their team. They're an older team. We've got a great chance with Stokesy leading us into the 2027 Ashes. And I've got to be honest, sat around this table right now, I'm a little bit worried about next summer. How are you sat here as a retired England cricketer?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to it, and that there's a lot to it that I think is just not for today or for the near future.
Till he's played in the Ashes next year, and we'll get into it.
You know, there's. But I think when it comes to the cricket side of things, I look at sort of as again planning ahead, and you know, we got the Ashes in 2027, and I think, you know, I spoke to Claire a lot about this even before I took the decision. We were sort of, oh, you always plan your retirement, right? You always go, okay, boom, boom, boom. And it was 2027 Ashes, right? Whatever happens there, you're going, not sure I can go past that. And then over time, sort of I was kind of, how am I going to get there? How am I going to get to Australia 2027, you know, with just everything, with, you know, how everything is feeling at the moment, and then it will go, okay, how am I going to get? Then even like New Zealand, I'm going playing for Durham. I'm like, I'm going to get to the end of the New Zealand series, and you play New Zealand. How am I going to get to Pakistan? I'm going, geez, I'm worrying about how I'm going to get there, and I'm thinking that Australia is going to be my last one.
But I would say your greatest strength as a person has been being so present all the time. So you're overwhelming yourself by thinking so far ahead there. You've always been a day-to-day.
But did you not have that though with the like retirement? Asking for a friend. I'm sat with 2 retired cricketers now.
Yeah.
But like, did you when did your like point go where you're like, you know, Stokes was saying initially it was that Ashes. How far out did you know? 23 Ashes, you were like, that's my plan.
I wouldn't break any confidentiality, but we spoke quite a bit from Lords onwards, and I would have said it probably 6 times. I had that feeling of, I'm done it. I can't see myself going any further. First felt it 17, 18 Ashes when we lost away from home. Went on holiday straight after it with Jimmy and great mate Sean to Noosa, actually, funny enough. And I was sat cooking a barbecue, thinking like, I can't play cricket again. Like, I've just got nothing left. I don't know what, technically in a bad place, just struggling to like get the best out of myself. And Jimmy Whittaker, who's chairman of selectors, called me and said he'd been picked for New Zealand, which was the next tour. I put the phone down, sat down, I was gutted, that sounds really strange. And those two like just chatted through it. Sean was amazing at just saying like, just go, see how you feel there. Like, take it in small chunks. And then that was the last time I felt that for ages. Then I had it again before the 2019 Ashes. Sorry to make this about me. I don't know why I'm going on about this. 2019 Ashes, I'd made up in my mind. I was really struggling with Ed Smith as chairman of selectors. I got left out in Barbados on a pitch that suits tall, medium fast bowlers. And I said to myself, if I miss out at Birmingham, that's me done. Like, I can't deal with this anymore. But then a couple of injuries happened. I think Joff had a bit of soreness after the World Cup. Woody did his side World Cup final. So I played, had a good summer. COVID again was a bit of an emotional roller coaster. You came to see me after missing out the first COVID test, do you remember? You weren't allowed in my room, but you weren't allowed in my room, but you came in.
Oh, that's when you went in the old green room.
Yeah, bad, terrible. Just that was lost the plot stuff, wasn't it?
Do you know, can I just go on that, right? Because obviously I came in with captain on that because Ruti was on maternity leave. And again, you weren't allowed in rooms and stuff, but it was like, again, that was like a big call for me coming in. But obviously I was like, well, I'm in charge of one team. This is the team I want to go with. And obviously it was broadly missed out. We weren't allowed to go.
Leading wicket taker in the world at the time.
But that conversation of like, but like, it was, again, that had to come from me, right? I felt like if you got that news from someone else, you would have been like, lost a lot of respect for me for doing that for one game. Easy option. Then I remember the green room stuff and people going, like, see Broad? And I was like, well, did you expect him to be happy? Like, I thought people took a lot of offence and an issue with you going and doing that. And you're going, and the way that I looked at it was like, well, someone who's emotional right now has just been left out of a team. Like, do you want him to go and be happy? Do you want him to go and like sing and dance about that he's been left out? And I was like, didn't actually bother me that much, to be honest. Because I was like, well, if he wasn't bothered, people will be kicking off anyway.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've got not stuff there. It was my own fault, of course, but because it was COVID and you just had this box with a big seat and a GoPro camera. And it was like the Big Brother chair, right? So I had Wardy, who I know really well, just chatting to me through a GoPro, can't see it. So if I'm interviewing you and I'm saying that, you're getting something from the reporter going, ooh, okay, what about... But I'm just sat there like grumbling on my own. I just like spiraled into like, "Oh, you're disappointed? No, I'm disappointed if I smash my iPhone screen. I'm angry." You know what I mean? And I walked out. I was like, "That was probably live TV. That might have not been that good."
I swear it was like 12 o'clock and the game was like an hour in, and then Brawley walks out of the hotel and was just doing a lap around the ground.
Because you weren't allowed out your room. Like, you weren't playing. You're either on 12th man duty or stuck in your room. It was like weird. It wasn't a great place anyway in the COVID bubbles, as you know. They were pretty grim, weren't they?
Grim,
so just went on this rampage. But yeah, so I said to you on the phone, didn't I? I would have had that feeling 5 or 6 times in my career, like, this is the feeling that everyone tells me about. And then funnily enough, when it came to the time of retiring, I didn't have that feeling because I was loving playing under Stokesy and Baz, bowling nicely. They were sort of giving me the opportunity to play. I had a great role. I felt fit, but I just knew I wanted to finish on my own terms. Having been left out in the Caribbean, you know, the Straussy left me out before you came in as captain. That was another time where I was sort of like, I can't deal with ECB anymore. To come back, I just didn't want to tap on the shoulder. So I was like, this is my time. I'll go against Australia. One of my favourite grounds, the Oval. I could have played 2 more years, 18 months, but I just don't want someone to go, you crap, go. So that's why I made that call then. So weirdly, I'd felt it before, but I didn't feel it when I retired. That's why I knocked on Stokesy's door. Like, that's me, put my hand out. And he was like, what? You were quite surprised, I think. And we just had a hug and you carried on icing your knee. But I had to tell someone because I was like, I just can't make up my mind. But how did you make up your mind? How are you, because there was all this rumor, right, around Lords that you were going to go then if you were banned. But then there was no rumor around Trent Bridge. That came out of sort of nowhere for us.
Yeah. Again, as I said, I know you were one of the few people that I phoned from, you know, after Lords and stuff like that. And I guess people who know me, like, will go, if I get some in my head, it's, you know, probably more than likely gonna happen. I think people were a bit like shocked because it was like, well, where's this come from?
At Lords?
Yeah.
After Lords.
The whole feeling towards it. But I think when I was reflecting at the time that I had when I was banned, that I hadn't...
Banned for missing the non-curfew? Was there a curfew?
It's for another time.
Well, legally, no, there wasn't a curfew. I know that
in that
fact.
Lord's game, though, before you're saying about a feeling or how am I going to get there? So at Lords, did you feel like, oh, this just feels a bit different, or like?
Yeah. So again, like there was, I know from reflection that I'd probably been thinking a lot about it without actually owning it, without being true to myself and going like, fucking hell, Ben, like, you know, you sort of was like hiding it and tucking it away, trying to avoid it, because I don't think anyone really wants to like tell themselves that maybe it is, you know, maybe it is.
Yeah.
And then like when I was playing for Durham, you know, it was, you know, although all the attention's still on you because you're England captain and everyone's looking at how you're doing and stuff like that, and you know that you've not been doing that well with the bat, and everyone's, you know, and rightly so, saying this, saying that, and then you don't get some runs, and then so you know, it's there's still that there, but I loved it. Like, I just loved being, you know, with, you know, back at, you know, just playing for Durham, where things are just like, you know, the chill. Like, it's still competitive. You're still desperate to do well. You still want to go out and perform, and you know that comes at every level that you play with. You know, if you know the pressure of performance comes from if you're playing for England, it comes if you're playing for a franchise team, it comes if you're playing for your county, right? And then honestly, when I got to Lords, and then it was right. Okay, I'm back to England captain again now. It's just, God, you know, like,
a lot.
It's just
not enjoyable.
No, and it was sad because I loved. Like, I remember when I first started, I was waking. I said it to Baz. I was like, Baz, like, you know, when you're a captain, you just love knowing that you woke up every morning, you got a chance to like influence someone in a positive way. And he was like, yeah, that's why we do it, innit? And I was like, yeah. And then that feeling of just not being like, I don't want to say I wasn't happy, but just almost just being like, oh, God, like I could do media again. You know, I've got to go do this again. I've got to go do that again. And then,
But even a wicket, how are you feeling? A wicket, are you
no,
like the plan comes together? Still, that was there.
That's like, yeah, it's good
Yeah.
that. But then the game goes how it goes. It was, God, it was chaos, wasn't it? It was another belter at Lords.
What it means by that, another shithole at Lords.
We won the game, and like I was obviously very, very happy, but like I was happy for the lads who come in. Robbo would come back in and had a great game. Gus had again dominated at Lords. He's on the honour boards again, like ridiculous. You know, we had some lads who come in. Emilio, you know, test debut. You know, lads had done really well. We'd won a test match. It was a huge game for English cricket, huge game for me, huge game for the team after Australia. Pretty dominant performance. And I was happy, I was that, but I just couldn't wait to go and do media. I was more excited about doing that than I was to celebrate with the people who'd done well. And when I was walking off the field going like, that's not it. So that adds to all of the other things that I'm feeling around rocking up at the start of the week and just being like, here's another week of like, you know, media and getting asked this and getting asked that. And, you know, I would say that I was a little bit off with it all. You know, I'd normally be, I liked doing media. I liked doing all that kind of stuff, the extra responsibility. I actually didn't think I would when I first took it on. It was the one thing that I wasn't looking forward to. But I actually really enjoyed all the interactions that I have with media. But I think over time, I just started to resent them. I started to resent the time that I had to give to the media, which, again...
It's funny because a lot of your captaincy, I would say they were very positive because it was bringing such enjoyment, stories, thrill to Test match cricket. I would say English media were, well, they grew the game with you and Baz in a way, didn't they? Because you gave them stories, you gave them something to write about.
Yeah, and again, so you just look at then, I'm going, Jesus, there's more negatives coming out of all this kind of stuff that I'm doing now. And then I was going back to and then obviously Lords happened, I then miss out on that game and I go back and play again for Durham. But then I had a really good week with Durham, training at, you know, the ground. I'm literally batting. I was like a new man when I was netting because I'd gone through something, you know, it was quite, you know, like all in the media again, all this, that, and the other. And I remember just going and having a net. I hadn't had a bat in God knows how many days. And I went in on this net that was like Hyderabad day 10. It was awful. But I'd played the best that I'd ever played and felt in a long time. Like I was getting hit in the glove, I was getting hit in the ribs, balls were like bouncing off a length, keeping low, and I was just laughing. If that happened a week ago, toys were out the pram and like, Jesus, like blaming everything. Like, but just being away from that environment and not having the England captaincy tag on my back, even just at training was just like, and then I go through that week at Durham and everything just feels like, right, I think this is what I want to be able to feel like, and I will take that into me when I got the news of being at Trent Bridge that I'm back.
So were you expecting a ban first of all when you missed this, when the news got out you'd had the night out, or were you expecting it could have been longer?
I had no idea
really
what was going on. There was this whole processing that needs to go through, and then obviously what happened, and then we ended up being back at Trent Bridge. But what I did get is I got the time back at Durham to, like, as you say, like I said in the press, I said, yeah, I just went back to Durham and just sort of regained that, you know, almost not love for the game that I felt like had maybe disappeared a bit because of how much pressure I was putting on myself but as I say, honestly, although when I got back to Trent Bridge, it was like Lords all over again. I was like, this is just, and then I had conversations with Brookie, Rooty, even before that, again, like yourself. And then, yeah, got through sort of however many days in the Trent Bridge, and then just had a good 15-20 minute conversation with Rooty and Brookie. And then what happened.
But the Monday after Lords, did you wake up and do you think, yeah, you had your own thing going on, like, do I want to play again? Do I want to keep captaining this team? But there must have been a call come at some stage from those dreaded calls from either Baz or Keezy of like, I might be in trouble here from something other than cricket. how did that come about? Or did you know you might be in a bit of trouble? Because I found out, honestly, when you called me at 5 p.m. You're like, you've obviously seen the news, no? Yeah, I think I was on the golf course actually. But so you must have found out what time? How did you find out that this might be an issue?
I think again, there's like, so all the cricket, the stuff related to cricket in terms of like, that's the overall the factor to it. I'm not going to lie and say that there might have been some other things that contributed to the decision as well. But again, I'm not here today or anything like that really to go into all that detail. Yeah, I think there's a time and a place for that, and now isn't that time, because I don't want to come across bitter towards anyone yet, because I'm chilled right now.
Love that.
I'm
yeah,
just
love that. Yeah, come on, we'll book you in for 2 years time.
I'm just like I might not be. I might get to stage where I'm just like, you know what? I just don't need to. I don't want to do this.
Was it a good night out after Lords? Did you end up at McDonald's after? Look at you. For those listening, he's just nodding.
I've seen that face before.
Fillet fish.
That's always surprising. Your coffee order I'm sure it used to be more.
It was a vanilla latte, and then I actually started liking coffee. So now it's flat white. I'll have a cortado, Americano every now and again.
Do you gone that route, have you? Because that the WhatsApp group on the team bus, like, right lads, what you get? What coffee do you want? Stokes used to come through like vanilla latte, a little bit of whipped cream on top.
No whipped cream.
I was like, it should be an Irish coffee. What's going on? No, that McDonald's order always after a night out, a fillet of fish. What?
Yeah.
You want to what? Who eats that?
After Headingley, that you're not there. that was the all-time McDonald's order. That 100 fillets of fish. But
where was that? In the change room?
Yeah, where were we on the way back?
No,
I think we went through the drive-through.
Yeah, we went through a drive-through. Rooty, it was like we had a massive Uber, didn't we?
Yeah.
There was loads of us, and Rooty bought. It must have been like 140 quid McDonald's. I think we had to, it was that big that we had to put it to the screen twice.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I was like your guardian. Me and Mark Wood, like, we'd always like make sure we'd get you back. Do you know that was my tactic at all times? Was wherever you were, I'd be like, "Do you fancy McDonald's?" And I knew if it got to the time I was like, "I'm getting him back now," I'd be able to go, "Fuck, I'm hungry. Are you hungry?" So, yeah, a bit hungry. Do you fancy should we go and get McDonald's? And whatever time it was, you'd be like, yeah, let's go. And like, you'd be first to lead out. I think that might have been, Woody might have texted me actually after you'd missed that sort of curfew. But he's like, he just needed a McDonald's. He's not dragged it. 5 to 12. Fancy a fillet of fish, Stokes? Yeah, let's go. Let's have it.
You've had such an incredible career for England. It feels really strange to be sat here thinking your England career's finished. But like, have you had time in the last few weeks to sort of go, wow, what a ride. Like, I loved, or is it still like this summer's sort of too near in a way?
Honestly, no, not really.
No.
Genuinely, I know it's like, God, but since I've been watching, like, I love cricket. It's class, isn't it? Like, I mean, might be different to you, but I've been down watching club cricket, like on Saturdays. My, close family friend who's a young boy, he's good cricket. He's on Durham Academy's books, all in their age group stuff. Go down and watch him when I can now. I'd never did that because I just didn't feel like it was something that I would enjoy, because
in that sense, do you think that was maybe circumstances wouldn't allow, but like, and obviously maybe there's injuries and stuff, but if you were playing some, let's say about for Durham where the pressure's off and you actually are, it sounds really corny, but for the love of cricket, you're like, wow, this is amazing. And it just gives you that little break from the England, like being England captain, or like, do you just feel, God, I'm England captain the whole time?
Yeah.
And it's like, I've just got to play test matches, and that's
Yeah, so I think the big reason as to why, like, I would never sort of feel like I would want to go and do that was because I was like, I was always on duty as Ben Stokes, England captain, always. Now I'm like Ben Stokes, who used to be England captain. So it's like, it's just with that, it's just like, you just naturally just feel a bit more free here. And now my son Leighton, like, he showed no interest in cricket for 13 years. He liked it, but he showed no interest in playing it, no interest in. of all weeks, he came up to me and tell me when I'm sat there like on a ban from playing for England, he's like, Dad, I want to play cricket now. I'm like, you've just like, really? He was like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Like, go down. So he is just obsessed with cricket now. And I go down and take him down to the nets, and he doesn't want me to do it because he's like, well, like, just put too much pressure on me, Dad. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, all right, fair enough. But like, go down and watch him playing a Tuesday, playing in the 13s. Like, it's just now I feel I'm not, as you say, like carrying that responsibility around 24/7 of being Ben Stokes England captain. I can just do things that I should have been able to do anyway, but never felt like I could. Like I was down in my first game for Durham against Derby. Like I got a text saying, "Oh, do you want to play with Ian Poulter at the Pro-Am in the Live?" It's like, "Nah, Lane's got a cricket game. I'm not missing that." So it's like there's just simple things, but I should have been able to do them, but I just never thought that I could because I didn't think I'd enjoy it, and I didn't want to go down and take like as much as Leighton likes it. He also, I think, gets a little bit like, don't, because I'm your
it's
son.
difficult.
It's sad, right? He wanted to put down Claire's name when he joined up for cricket. He wanted to put Leighton Ratcliffe, didn't want to put Stokes, and I was like, why? And he was like, well, and I'm like, nah, mate, you need to own that. Like, you're going to live with that for the rest of your life. So even just like stuff like that, I get it, but just now I can just go down and do things without having to like worry about like just eyes constantly on you, because it got to that point where I was just like, just feel like I couldn't move.
Yeah.
Without anything really, eyes are always on constantly. You just sort of it was horrible. But now, like, I just feel I can do things that sort of don't have to worry about people being there. Like, I watched Saturday club cricket, watched Scott get 30 odd, and then I was wicket keeping with my son and his mate with a pint in my hand on the outfield. I would never have done that 4 weeks ago.
Because probably someone films you and it's a bit of a ends up on social media that England cap's having a pint, in the day.
Yeah, and I get that, and like I always carry that. There is that, when you're an elite athlete, which we are, you're always should be perceived to be elite and doing the right things and stuff like that. But I think I just got so carried away with that it became pretty detrimental to me, and then also took away enjoyment of family time, enjoyment of time when I'm away. Because as I say, like Claire would always say, when you were home, you were never home in the last year, let's say. Now she's can't wait to get me out of the house already.
When are you going away again?
I mean, I'm already on the road. I'm trying to get scratched on golf, so that started already. But yeah, it's just pretty normal life, and turn out and play for Durham for the rest of the season, and then we'll see what the winter holds.
Obviously, having played with you for a long time, I know your feelings with hierarchies and ECBs. There's been all sorts of things that have gone on over the years. A lot of it at board level, not so much like personal level. But what's your relationship been like with Rob Key over the last sort of 6-7 weeks? He came out and did a press conference after the Lord's incident, and like he sort of very disappointed, that sort of thing. Have you been on the phone to him quite a lot, or is he? Because from my point of view in the media, I've not heard enough from him. I've not seen enough of him. He's sort of gone into the background. Obviously busy finding a new coach, probably. But have you been in a lot of contact with him, or is your relationship sort of separated slightly?
Oh, I think initially with the incident, we were in contact every 1-2 days, and then obviously get back into the team and start playing again, and then it just sort of it is how it is. And then now, obviously, look, I'm not part of the organisation whatsoever anymore, so I guess that just naturally happens, right? You're not in it anymore. You're not needed.
Removed from the WhatsApp group happens pretty quick, doesn't it?
Leave or get kicked out.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get kicked out of the WhatsApp group or leave yourself?
To be honest, I don't even know. I think I might just have left. It was that long ago now. And yeah, look, obviously it was a sticky situation for quite a few people involved, really. And again, this will be one of those things. I'm sure when the time is right, or when I do it, then there'll probably be a bit more said about it. But as I say, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to do it. I just don't feel like the need to whatsoever, because it's a difficult role that those men are in to do. It's hard to keep everyone happy. And, at the end of the day, do I want English cricket to be successful? Absolutely. And whoever's entrusted with doing that, then I wish them all the best, because whatever they do affects English cricket. And I want English cricket to be as successful, to be as successful as it possibly can. So, good luck.
And stories with, your relationship with Baz. My feelings with you two is always you're like great mates and always singing off the same hymn sheet. Australia, there was all the stories like it just separated slightly. You want to play a different way. Still on speaking terms, I assume.
Absolutely, yeah. We're on the. He tried to phone me yesterday, actually, but
you press red button. Don't you dare call me.
No, I phoned him. He was on a holiday with his family in Italy, I think.
I thought he was watching the 100
or something like that. No, it's the last time. I suppose
it's a VPN, hasn't he? He's got a VPN.
He is planning. I think he went round. Claire wants to go on the same holiday, and so he was like, "I'll keep you updated with how it's going." And then tried to call me the other day, but I was busy, obviously playing with Durham. So me and Baz, we're mates.
Yeah, so it all felt a bit nonsensy, that.
This thing, so me and Baz always laughed about, especially at the back end of working together, was obviously he's a Kiwi. I was, obviously a Kiwi as well, lived there for 12 years. And me and him used to have we call them discussions in the dressing room, right? Like when we're batting, when cricket's going on, and we'd have discussions about things. And they would be in detail, they'd be in depth, we'd disagree on things, and it could be about anything. But then what we'd notice is that if we had a group of players or, I don't know, some staff who were initially involved in the conversation, the deeper and deeper it got, the more that they'd just disappear.
Yeah.
Because it was confrontation. It's and then it would just be can people just not have a discussion and it not to be seen an argument if you don't agree with it? We had this one in the Lord's dressing room about the pitch, and he had one view and I had the other, and his was opposite to mine. But then, as you say, we were all discussing it, and then people just drifted away because they were like, "Oh no, I don't want to get involved with that." And then we would just censure and be like, "What is it with people and not being able to just have a discussion and not agree with it, and then just smile, laugh about, and move on to the next thing?" I was like, "I think it's an English thing, mate." And that's what I think. When you heard me speak, and then you heard Baz speak, and some things, then the thing was "Oh God, they're not on the same tune here, so they're falling out." We never once fell out. Did we have discussions with each other that we had different views on and different opinions on? 100%, and we both admit that. I think Baz has even said that himself. Did we ever fall out? Absolutely not.
That's part of leadership, right? You don't want to just be saying the same thing all the time together. You need to come up, challenge each other, don't you?
No, it's just it got to the point again where it was such a good thing to be able to write, to be able to sell, click on it, read it. Our readers want to see that. Our readers want to read that. And me and Baz are sat there what? And then it just got to the point where it was this is I think we even started to question it ourselves. We're all right, aren't we? Yeah.
I love the fact you had to. Are we all right?
It's just God, come on.
Yeah. But the power of the media and that's all the narratives that can run away is scary, isn't it? And that, like you say, you do. I remember at times you spoke earlier about resenting the media, and I remember speaking to Henry Moran on the side of the pitch at Barbados, and I wanted to go and train, but I had to do the media. So I was so short and snappy with the answers. He was asking about the World Cup before, and I'm just talk about something else. Let's move, and just wanted to get out of it. And then the story's he hates talking to the media. He's he's at this time where he's short, and it's then exactly I'm going, God, was I? Am I that person? Am I that? It can get away from you, but it's hard to. Yeah, no. How would you summarize your time together as captain and coach? But that sort of.
It was good fun for me.
Yeah, but that's what I and maybe it's too early after, we talked about earlier, trying to look back on your career, but you were just, it seemed like the perfect match, and it was, and people were saying this at the end, but just never, you'd have been having those discussions when you're winning all the games and everything's going right, the same.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's, I guess when you don't let people get in too much, you're then you're then allowing them to be able to make their own minds up and write their own stories about you, right? And then it's like, if you give information to people and it makes sense in their head, then all of a sudden it becomes fact, and that's the truth. I guess that's what you could say it was like for 4.5 years, is that we actually didn't really give that much away. But the stuff that we did give away, it was then, that was, I guess we were letting it on to be that is everything, because that's what we're saying.
That's a good point, actually, because I was on the outside the whole time. There was like a bit of a mystique around the team, a bit of a like,
what's going on?
Yeah, it is like, and there's a huge strength of the teams, and like, but you're right. Like, from being on the outside looking, you were like, you want to peer behind the curtain, like, what is going on? And like, but then, like you say, you're giving people who need to fill columns. They've got to come up with their own idea or opinion, or
would you have sacked him?
Stuff.
Probably worded that wrong. Were you surprised when he got sacked?
I was. So now this is. I
probably wouldn't have done, to be honest. I wouldn't have done, to be honest. But go on.
I was. If I hadn't have made the decision that I made 4 weeks ago, Baz would still be coach.
Yeah.
So it's my fault.
It's your fault.
That's just something. You just straight up.
But you know, like, it's just, yeah. I was.
How did you find out about that? Did he call you and say, look, I've been given the boot?
Yeah, just, I mean, that's how we were with each other. It was just pretty, like, you know, when I told Baz, it was in the morning on, I don't know, I think he was making toast. And so, no, I'm done. He's like, I'd obviously had discussions with him anyway about it and thinking there, and then told him over, you know, toast. So,
yeah.
It just, what else are you supposed, you know, it's like
official meeting, or
like, you know, and then again, I think, it was just like quick, like, I've been given the tap on the shoulder, and I was like, oh, but he's still very excited and very happy to be moving forward with the white ball, because he's doing a very good job there. So yeah, look, he's obviously disappointed and all that kind of stuff. And
was he surprised? He said he was surprised.
No, I think Baz was like, what did he say? I can play 3D chess. I can sense what's going on, and I can. He had a feeling, I think he said.
So take us to Trent Bridge. You knew it came out about 3 o'clock, about 3:30, didn't it? Where all the news came out through an England social media post. Which, did you break the ICC rules? I can't remember if that was true or not.
You've broken a few rules over the years.
And then the crowd like started roaring, and then you run into bowl. So that was that morning. You went, right, guys, that's me. And that was the first time the team heard about it. Jacob Bethell sat there shirtless,
his GPS bra,
just staring at you.
Yeah. That was the first time the team, obviously, you know, the few individuals knew, but you need to, the less people that know, the easier. Sorry, the more people know those situations, the more chance there is of it coming out of your control, isn't it? Like, I know when you told me, I was one of a few people who knew. But yeah, that clip of Beth in his GPS vest was the first time that the full team got addressed, and there was there was only 2 players in that dressing room who knew what was going on that morning. And then obviously we still had a game to play, and then, you know, just I wasn't too fussed about really the situation of it getting out there was. I left that to the people in charge to do that, and we just ran with it because I still had a game to play.
Yeah, because at 1 o'clock, I get a message saying Stokes is retiring. He's asked for you and Wardy to be at the end of play. He wants to come and see you and do it at the end of play. So start preparing. So I was like jotting notes down, blah, blah, blah. 5 to 3. Need you on commentary. They're releasing a video at 3 o'clock. What? So like running to the commentary box. So I'm like sort of swiping Instagram. This is how village it was for me. Swiping Instagram, like nothing's been released. It came at 3:30. And then you ran in, the crowd just went berserk. You ran in and snicked off a wicket. Were you bowling that long a spell, waiting for someone to release an Instagram video? Were you planning on a 6-over spell? And you're like, has anyone released that video yet?
So honestly, what we planned on, we actually planned it with New Zealand as well. So we planned it that I'm going to bowl this long, and then Zach Folkes, he's going to bat for this amount of time and play really well. And then the next ball after this announcement came, he's going to purposely nick it to second slip from like 7 stump.
So when you first
And
said
he
we
caught
planned it with New Zealand, I actually bought that for a second. I was like, God, what? He's felt New Zealand. He's going to do that.
We played that well.
Yeah, honestly, everyone was in on it. You know,
For 5 seconds there, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Can't believe I've just been done there.
It just, look, it was mad when when the crowd just started going up like that, it was like, oh, guess it's out. And then it happened. And it was just, like, even then I was like, God, as if I
That
managed
feeling
to
was
do
mental,
that.
right?
It was mad because the
Yeah,
whole crowd had
incredible.
just gone like, woof. And then, like, obviously we get the wicket, and then the whole crowd, again, their energy goes up. So it then feeds into you. And then you just, it was just mad. But no, like, God, like this, all the orchestration and orchestrating spell, like, just come on, like, just for all of that to happen, like, just happened.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, isn't it?
From my point of view, selfishly, my home ground, Trent Bridge, love it to bits. You said you're retiring, so ticket sales went. But I think Trent Bridge has said actually free for the next day, so they all disappeared. I wanted you to bat 7 and need 250 to win and smash 100. Where did the opening the batting come from? Because I could just imagine the drama of being 50 for 2 overnight and everyone coming to the ground the next day going, well, Stokesy, only Ben Stokes could do it for me.
Maybe an older Ben Stokes. Look, so again, we'd been speaking about we obviously be chasing the total down here. And we'd spoken, I've done it a few times opening the batting where sort of we felt like, I don't know, we wanted to go out and get a bit of a kickstart on the game. So we'd been speaking about that because the wicket was playing how the wicket was playing. Now I know, Daryl Mitchell and Ratchan played very, very well on that wicket, but it was going up.
Yeah,
it was
and
going
nipping
down. It was like, so to chase down 3, what was it? Big score.
It's 380 or something. Yeah.
So it's been spoken about sort of probably as the game was getting closer and closer to what we knew what was going to happen. You know how a test match is going to play out the deeper and deeper it goes. You're like, right, okay, we're probably on for chasing the big total down here on a pretty wearing pitch. That's going up, it's going down, it's nipping, it's going through the top, it's keeping low. We spoke about me opening the batting there, even before I'd even spoken with Rooty and Brookie about what I was going to do. So it's been funny watching people think, oh, I did, and then I just opened the batting because it was my last game. But then people, I should have been. Whereas actually, if I stayed in my normal position, that would have been away from what we decided to do about winning the game.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So after the retirement stuff,
you'd
already been speaking about opening
and
the
that
batting.
was what. So we just wait. We thought, okay, for our best, giving ourselves the best chance of winning this game and chasing this total down. We were like, and again, you've got to commit to something. Now, obviously, we got bowled out in the way that we did, and it ended in a way that we didn't like. We were devastated. But again, like, if we'd gone about in a different way and got bowled out, it probably would have been the wrong way to take it on anyway. It's just how it is. But yeah, like, me opening the batting there had been spoken about for a while because of how tactically you wanted to go about that run chase. Thought I was going to do it at one point because I was like, geez, I'm hitting the middle of the
absolute
bat.
flyer, didn't you?
Yeah. When someone dropped to caught and bowled and then it went over mid-off's head, I
genuinely thought that was going straight down Santa's throat though.
Yeah.
I was like, no, not like this. But
not like this.
Yeah, not like this. But,
when you've played innings like that, so like, have you had that feeling like this is it's going to happen? Like, you've played a few remarkable innings, but are you like, well, this is going to be we would have had to play a remarkable innings again, but do you get that sense of like, this can be the day?
One thing that I noticed it very early on in that innings was I'd gone out there, basically in my head I was like, create some chaos. The new ball, as much as it was the most dangerous period as a bowler, because obviously it was a harder ball, that's when it goes that and does that, but it was actually the easiest time to be able to score because that's where all the people are in the slips and the ball's harder, so it comes off the bat better. I think I ran down the wicket first ball and whacked it to like mid-off, and then the field just went, oh, It's like, and then they just start getting knocked off their length. You know, they start bowling into where I want them to bowl. You know, I remember I got a couple of edges that flew for 4 because didn't have slips in. So I was like, right, okay, this is exactly what I've came out here to do. And then at the other end, Ducky was flying as well anyway. So I was like, this is perfect. Like, we're off to a great start here. And then, you know, you sort of get to that point where, oh God, you're looking up at the scoreboard or the time left in the you know, in the day, and you're like, oh, okay, we've got to a good start here. But that's when you start second guessing yourself in those situations, I think is when your sound can sometimes become exposed, I don't know, to you being dismissed, because you could look and go, right, you've got off to a good start right now to see the day through.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's when you feel like you're probably going to be at your most vulnerable on this wicket against a newer ball, because then the slips come back in, you know. So I just stuck to what I was doing there, and, you know, I got 30 odd off 20. I mean, God, it's not exactly, no one's going to remember that, are they? But it was like, I need to keep continuing the style of play here, because not only is it putting New Zealand off, but it's actually helping Ducky, because there's gaps everywhere for him, and he's not even having to break sweat here, and he's flying. So, no, I wouldn't say I felt the pressure of that. It was just the complete and utter conviction that I went out there with, to go out there and cause some chaos. And even though I knew it was my last test, I wasn't going to go selfishly out there for myself.
Yeah.
Because all I wanted to do was chase down that and win that last game. And I knew that my role of playing that was to go out there and do that, and do something, you know, unlikely, but I was going to give myself the best chance of doing it. So yeah, if I hadn't ended up batting 7, then that would have gone away from what we decided as a tactical decision as a team anyway. So that would have been wrong.
Where you talked a lot about leaderships, it's obviously something you're really keen on, and you obviously where do you want to take that leadership stuff?
Coach England.
So I've
give it Stokesy into the season.
I'm doing my level 3 coaching now while I'm still playing, because I want, when the day comes that I'm not playing anymore, I'd love to be able to have all that stuff signed off and done. So then I've got that option if I want to go into it, or if, you know, I want to be, I don't know, have a couple years off and just do whatever I want to do. But then I've always got that option there of being able to come, because I want to be a coach. I know what I want to do in terms of staying within the game, which is to be a coach. And would I love to be coach of England one day? Absolutely. I'd love to be able to do that. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. Like, no idea. But and then further on from that, I don't know. I just really like the idea of being, again, like in some form of leadership away from playing. Because I think do
you find it addictive?
Again, you know, when I said at the start, when I said to Baz, like when I first started, like, how good is it when you wake up in the morning and you feel like you can positively influence someone? It's an amazing feeling that you're able to do that. And I don't feel like, I feel like if I was ever to be in that role again, whether it away from playing, I think I would do a pretty good job at it, because, you know, I have an understanding of, you know, it's, you know, you got to take a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and I don't actually mind making big decisions, because I feel like I always feel like I'm doing that for the best of the team that I'm in charge of, if that makes sense.
With that leadership, from a fan's point of view, they might wonder, you love the game so much, like hearing you speak about the game is like inspiring to almost make everyone want to play. Could you not have played for England without the captaincy? Could you not have said, do you know what, I don't need the captaincy, let me just play? A bit like Rooty did under you.
So yeah, obviously people have asked me that. And the one thing, I think the difference there is, when I remember Cookie and Joe stepped down from captain, but carried on playing, they were 30, 31. Still had a lot. You know, I'm 35. It's been such a big part of this part of my career that, honestly, like, if I looked at playing for England and wasn't captain because of how much I've given to this role at this age, I was like, and I think that's just how I felt about it. Like, I never once thought, no, I'm just going to give it up and just keep going as a player. I think it's just, I'm 35. If I'm not going to be captain, I think I'd find it, you know, tough to do it. Not saying because I'd find it tough to be led by someone else, I just think because I've, given so much of this part of my career to that job, that it's like, well, if I'm going to play for England, it's going to be as captain. And yeah, I was very comfortable retiring from playing and not thinking about playing for England just as captain.
It's not the news that everyone wants. So many people have been like, 27 Ashes, can you come back as a player? Like, everyone must be asking you that.
I remember I spoke to Aggers after the game had finished, and it was like, I was on the day, and then he was asking me about the Ashes. Like, mate, I've just said I'm done, and you're asking me about the Ashes in 2027.
Really, on that same day, was it?
I was like, oh, jeez.
At least we gave it a month. A lot of time at home with the family for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, and I think even that, like the time at home, I feel I'm actually at home. Claire, obviously you guys know pretty well, and my two kids, like one of the things that Claire said is that even now you're at home, you have been at home, which I guess when you're away from the sport and away from the spotlight, it's, you are at home. But I sort of got what she meant when she was explaining it to me sort of after the first week or two of being home. And yeah, like I'm no longer just on phone calls, no longer stuck in my office doing work about whatever it needed to be with the captaincy and with the team. It's now, I mean, it's quite sad actually. And I was a little bit sad when I played cricket out in the garden with Leighton and Libby, and Claire was like, "You've not done that since I can remember." And I was a bit like, geez, that's pretty bad that. But even those small little things, like you make one decision and all of a sudden that then changes your whole sort of, I don't know, aspect of what you're doing in life. And it's only been a month. So but yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, absolutely. Plenty to look forward to, but you're still obviously playing for Durham at the minute in some good form in the 50 overs. You're going to see out the season and play some championship cricket?
Yeah, that's the plan. Obviously, I took a week, 10 days maybe, just to sort of, spend time with the family and get away from it all after Trent Bridge. And didn't take me long to go, right, okay, I want to get back into playing some cricket now. And look, Durham has been, it's been my boyhood club. I've went through the whole academy system there, and that's what sort of paved my way as a professional cricketer. So, look, I cared deeply about Durham. We've been through ups and downs as a county, obviously all the financial stuff, being relegated, and so look, it's my job now to play for Durham, and yeah, I'm desperate to do whatever I can do to help them, whether win the trophy this year in the 50 over comp or get back to Division 1, which is where I think we deserve to be. So yeah, still got a bit of work to do.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Well, Stokes, it's been awesome to have you, mate. Our last question, definitely retired? Definitely retired. But
I thought we were just going to leave it.
Well, mate, thanks so much. Great to see you, and really appreciate it.
Well done, Stokesy.